Okay, we're live.
We're live.
Da-da-da. Everything should be working-ish.
Well, we'll see when it starts coming through. I'll check and make sure the audio sounds good.
Ish.
But welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Do you know what today is, Kaylee?
Today's Thursday. the
We're
14th.
live. It is the very first Wholesome Hammer Awards.
Yay!
Woo!
Why are we doing
Which-
this?
Why? I don't know. It's probably the closest to clickbait we're gonna get. The 35 awards you need to know about in Warhammer now.
Are we doing 35?
It's a lot. I don't think it's 35. It's maybe like 10 or 15.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite category?
Sorry?
Do you have a favorite category?
Ooh, there's a few good ones. Should we tease some of the categories?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, my personal favorite that I wrote is the James Workshop Corporate Profitability Award for largest model range. I personally quite like that one. There's an Angriest Model Award. I also like
blushing award.
There is a blushing award.
Hello, the mittens. He's first.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to go through these and get your opinions on things. We have the
Quite
best
the
and worst
year.
editions of the year.
That's quite the year of Warhammer.
It's been a year. Remember when we started this and we were like, oh, 10th's coming, and we were full of optimism and hope and excitement. And then we were just like crushed by that first couple months. Like, but still like holding on like hope, but that like, all right, this is going to be rougher than I wanted it to be. I feel like things are in an okay spot right now. I think
I'd say so. After that data slate that came out, it's been better only because like I felt the points come down. So since then, it's helped Chaos Demons a lot.
Yeah, actually, having played Votan recently, though, I feel like they need a codex because the just mountains upon mountains of dwarves is not the best solution to that problem.
Yeah, because they're like a horde army now, aren't they?
They're a horde army, but they have elite guns, so they like shoot better than Tau, but there's just an absolute pile of them, which feels weird.
Like between like orcs and Tau.
Yeah, it's like if orcs could hit on 3s, and we're like generally wounding you on 3s and 2s in shooting. Yeah, that's Votan right now, and it feels weird.
Is this a seasoned Votan player?
Maybe, I don't know. It was a rough game for many reasons, but just the sheer pile of bodies, like it wouldn't really matter. It's a lot of things to have to kill to hold objectives. When you're like, all right, I'm gonna go hold this objective, and there's like 9 Terminator-esque bodies on there, tough 6 with a 2-up armor save, and
tough
you're like,
6.
Yeah, they're tougher than Space Marines, which also feels weird. Yeah, see, Nurgle, that makes a little more sense, but you know, here we are. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm hoping the next data slate and some new codexes will help breathe some life into some things.
Yeah, the small choo-choo train of codexes.
Yes.
Or the slow.
It's and it is what it is. I don't know. I've seen some people saying like, oh, they should just drop all the codexes right away. And as good as that sounds, it would be really boring for everyone to have the same rules for 3 years.
How? Well, I guess so, but has it ever been done before?
I mean, the everyone gets a codex every edition is fairly new.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
no, it's never been done.
Hello, Grim Dark History. If I look like I'm in my phone, I'm just gonna be posting a story to let everyone know that we're live.
Woo woo woo.
So,
I should be smart enough to do that.
how are you all tonight? Awesome.
Right? The delay never feels more real than when you ask a question.
How's your night going?
My night?
Yeah. Who else's night?
I don't know. I know if there was a question,
like
a general question.
KN or NI?
How's mine? I'm a little sick right now, so I'm going to apologize for my voice. But I was working on the Rampager again today, so it's coming along. I'm very excited for it. It's there's enough of it built that it's starting to look like a knight, which is fun.
It's like fully built almost. What do you have left on it?
The arms.
Yeah.
I need to magnetize them.
Yeah.
And there's like some like spiky bits that have to go on it because it's it's a cast knight. So I haven't decided what color I'm going to make those yet. All the colors clash.
Did you hear that there's a GT in January?
I saw that.
You gotta go?
I think so. If it works out, if it makes sense, I'd like to go. I can't remember because I think there's going to be a GT in February as well. Whoa. And there's going to be 2 within a 2-month period, which feels like a lot. But yeah, I'll probably try and go. How about you?
Well, now that you said that there's a second one, like whichever is closest to me.
I think the one in January will be closest because that's the deck box one.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna go to both? You're not gonna get your games in?
I could go to both. Get my demons all set.
There you go. Try something new.
No.
We'll have a new data slate, so maybe things will have changed.
Do you think the Eldar players are doing something new out there?
Their last new thing was Night Spinners, and I would have preferred they didn't do that new thing, so... saw the pics on Discord. That night is looking sick. Yeah, it's been a labor of love and also pushing myself a lot, and I'm actually really proud of it. So I'm feeling very Slaneshi. I'm right now. I'm gonna fall to it. I'm gonna get hooked on this feeling.
I think it kind of cut out. What was that feeling?
It's a pride. I'm feeling like a Slanesh level of like pride. It's decadent. Here, actually, you want to hear it? So we decorated for Christmas, and my wife always does gay heaven. So on like our mantle, she puts like a bunch of lights and like cotton fluff and like a bunch of decorations. Cute. So it's like, and that's where we have like Freddie Mercury. We have a little Funko Pop of Freddie Mercury who lives in gay heaven for Christmas. But I decided I put little Fabadon in there.
Cute.
So it's like all these like Christmas decorations and then just Abaddon, just like
making your Warhammer into Christmas ornaments.
Right? I was like, it works too. It's like he's nice and bright and colorful, so.
Aww.
I know. You have to get a little Nurgling and put them in like a Christmas ornament, like those little clear glass ones.
Good.
You can have.
I did make when I was first getting into it. I made little Santa hats for my Nurglings.
Aww. Now that's very cute.
Any other Christmas traditions that you do?
We have the tree up. Not really like a ton. I know we always have like music going. we have eggnog while we like, which like my wife doesn't actually like eggnog very much, so I just like I give her her like her token little tiny glass of eggnog, and then I just drink a bunch of it. But it was cute. Elliot was part of it, and kind of a little bit. I mean, not as much as a 1-year-old helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But she's really excited about the tree now, so which is fun. She hasn't pulled it down yet, so that's even better.
Whoa, that's a
But,
feat.
But yeah,
I've been trying to stay away from decorations just because of Yarrow. He would eat it all. Anything that's new that we bring into the house, he has to investigate. He has to like make sure it's home worthy.
it's up to snuff. Yeah. What is he, the health and safety inspector for the house?
Yeah.
Did I tell you I got a new cat?
Yes. How's she doing?
She's over here. I'll show you. Is that showing? No, where are we? There we go.
Yeah. Oh, she's just chilling.
Her name's Penelope.
Cutie.
Yeah. She's a little rescue cat. She was living on a barn. I guess on a farm. She wasn't. Well, she probably lived inside the barn too. But how about you? Are you ready for Christmas? Ready for the holidays?
Well, like I said, I don't really decorate for it anymore. But making some plans with the family and making my Christmas cards.
Ooh.
That's pretty much what I do. Is just instead of buying these presents, and especially when it comes to like people around the world, like, okay, so I have to share this. I went to go send the Shin to back to the people with the Warlord Titan. I went to UPS thinking that they could maybe have like a cheap rate. I just wanted to check the rate. I was like, I just wanted to check the price of this, and he's like, oh, that's gonna be expensive. And I said, okay. And then he punched in the address, and he's like, are you sure that's the address? I'm like, that's the address they gave me, like on the slip.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. And he's like, so that's gonna be $127. And I was like, what? And like that's like the lowest rate. And I was like, whoa. And he goes,
damn.
He's like, actually, that's cheaper than what I thought. I thought it was gonna be like $200, $250. I was like, damn. He's like,
where was it going?
It somewhere in the UK. Essex, I think. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So sending gifts or anything nowadays is just super expensive. So I put my time and effort into cards.
Well, and you showed me one of your cards, and it's looking pretty swell.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a shocker.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and it was a tiny little box, like thin. It was lightweight. It was 300 grams. Like there was no weight to it. And he kind of mouths to me. He's like, "I have a suggestion." I was like, "Okay." And then he just kind of stops for a second. I was like, "Oh, what was that suggestion?" And his boss like walked behind him, and he mouthed Canada Post, which I just said Canada Post. And I was like, oh, I was going to go there next. Just for the price.
Was that a little more reasonable?
Yes. Yeah. Like $100
That's good.
Cheaper. So yeah, it's very reasonable.
Even that sounds expensive though for like something that light.
Yeah. Well, I just sent my Secret Santa, and that was the same price as well, $25 ish. But that had more weight to it. And I was expecting about that much, so.
That's brutal.
So if you're looking to ship this holidays, don't ship overseas. Good luck.
Just
don't go.
If you're looking to
UPS.
ship, just don't. Don't do that.
No, okay, do it, but just don't go to UPS. Sorry, UPS.
I think the struggle is like with couriers, it's like it's faster when you don't necessarily need it to be faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's
Even
like Canada Post. It might take a month for them to get it there.
Well, no, he's like, it's gonna take 5 business days at $26. Like, yeah,
No,
great,
it's
that
not that bad at
works.
all.
No.
That's very reasonable,
Yeah.
especially for this time of year. Damn,
Mm-hmm.
Canada Post doing something right these days. Who would have thought?
Right? And the lineup only took like 7 minutes, so.
That's not too bad. Not too shabby. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'll throw it out to the audience here. Is there any award categories you would want us to include in the Wholesome Hammer Awards? Anything you'd want to see us give our chaosy spin on, our chaos judgment?
I was reading them over again today, and I was like, man, there's so many categories we could do. And
I know.
So, fair warning, some of these categories are a little spicy, little
picante, little hints of seasoning to be found throughout.
But it's all in fun. I think, especially having such like a heavier topic last week, it's gonna be fun just to like look back on the year and our good times, funny times, questionable times, and just have a reflection of the crazy year of 9th, 10th edition of Warhammer.
Yeah, I think we the idea originally started as a like retrospective for the year. We get into like an awards show. What was the question again? The question was we're doing like an awards show type episode this week. So if you have any ideas for like categories that we could answer, then send them our way.
We're still
if we were
it's still like we're waiting for like an immediate response, but it's like
I know, I'm like, oh,
type faster.
they're like just hearing it now and we're like, where's the answer? Yeah, I think it's meant to be fun. It's meant to, you know, look back at the year and maybe toast some of the good moments and make fun of some of the sillier ones, and just it's been a lot of Warhammer in the last year. Like if you think of like the year started with Arcs of Omen. We had Angron, we had World Eaters, we had the Lion come back, we had Votan, we had Broken Ass Guard, we had a whole new edition, and then just completely broken Eldar, Chaos Knights,
new codexes,
right? You know what? Okay, one thing I am enjoying about 10th, we have not yet had a like disastrous, and I know we've only had 2 so far, and the other 2 were like just working their way through now. But we've had 4 codexes where like they haven't blown up the entire like game, and I'm very hopeful about that. Space Marines included a nerf in their codex. Yeah. When was the last time you saw a codex be less powerful? Hello, Ulfgar.
So
is it Ulfgar or is it the full? Is it Ulfgar the Awful every time?
UTA. Or
that okay. You said UTA, and I was like, that sounds like it's unpleasant, and you should see a doctor if you have a UTA.
No. I heard like a little bit of a stutter because I kind of thought that.
I think I was processing the stutter and I was like, wait, what are you saying? Grimdark said best hobby tip or funniest food reference. I don't know if we have a category for
the podcast itself. Oh, we haven't done.
Hmm. We
Should
did.
we do
We, I
like a
don't think
Chaos Divided award?
Chaos Divided Award for most memorable food story.
Yeah.
There we go. I already know what it is. Best hobby tip. That could be fun.
Yeah.
That's that. You know, that'd probably be more helpful than most of the things we've come up with so far. So
That's a
maybe
great.
we
Okay.
should
Yeah.
include that just to add some substance to our episode.
I actually just shared one in the Discord today about oil paints and that you can pre-mix it with mineral spirits. Have you worked with oil washes?
No.
Okay, so in order, because it's oil and you don't mix it with water because it doesn't mix well together, so you mix it with a thing called mineral spirits. Anyways, so it's kind of toxic and it's you don't want to work with it too much, but I've seen some suggestions where you make a bunch of it and put it in dropper bottles.
Sorry.
And
Wolfgar just brought up the wrap, and I can't. We don't talk about the wrap.
That's not my favorite food reference, no. The oil washes and dropper bottles, and I shared that tip today, and I think it's a great hobby tip.
So you can keep it, like, you don't have to keep mixing it every time? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Does it separate, or do you just have to, like, shake
You
it?
just shake it up, yeah.
Yeah, I've never...
Like, You want with oil washes, because especially with towel, it actually works really well, because with pin washing, there's like a different consistency when it comes to oil washes. They just, once you dab it into the crevice, it just pools into the entire section. It's really cool.
Actually, Demittens was explaining this to me the other day.
Yeah?
Yeah, because he was like, I got a pin... He uses a lot of oil washes, I think.
Nice.
Well, that's his whole... He's a grimdark hobbyist, we'll say. You should absolutely sell dropper bottles full of oil wash.
Yeah, and then we got into the conversation like how that hasn't been a thing yet.
Maybe there's some issue with like the plastic
storage,
eroding
maybe?
over time. Like it's like would the spirit start breaking down the plastic?
Yeah, because the spirit comes in like a hardier plastic, so that might be it as well. Or just over time, I don't know what it turns into. So I'm going to experiment with the dropper bottles, and then I'll report back to the Discord of my findings.
Day 37.
The bottle is yet to explode.
It'd be more likely to either make it really brittle, so that you like accidentally like plastic, like you just like grab it and it breaks, or it'll like eat through it.
I think it depends on the type of plastic. If I'm getting like the really silicone-y, rubbery ones, then maybe it would break down. But if I get like a hardier plastic,
it all depends on like how they interact with each other.
Yeah,
plastics are funny like that. Chaos Divided oil wash coming soon, confirmed. I don't know if I want to get into running I don't know if I want to compete with like Citadel and Army Painter.
Why not?
I don't. Logistics is. You just talked about trying to ship a 300-gram thing to England.
They're not doing oil washes.
Do you want to do that as a career? Be like, how do I get 37?
Yeah, I know. We'd be competing against AK Interactive, more or less. Preshow.
Yeah. Didn't Grimdark Compendium release like an oil wash line recently too? Yeah. No, I use like Citadel washes because I'm a scrub sometimes. So
if you could start, like, you know how Green Stuff World will have like a line of different types of colored paints, and it's for a specific type of model. What kind of colors would be in a blushing kit?
Ooh, okay. I've actually been thinking about this recently. You know what? It's really hard to find.
Hmm.
Not fluorescent, bright colors for miniatures.
Okay.
So like you can get fluorescent blues, you can get fluorescent pinks, you can get like fluorescent greens. But if you want like I with the knight, I bought a few more paints. And like I feel like I did a good job, but like half of them are actually dry paints that I've just like taught myself how to use as real paints. Which has been an interesting ride. Um but yeah, I would love to have some like richer greens. I feel like
Mm.
green is either like they're very olivey, snotty greens,
Mhm.
or very like fluorescent, glowy greens.
Mhm.
But if you want like forest green or like different shade, like there's a mint green I've been using, and I like am in love with it. But like
Mhm.
there's no shades near it.
Mhm.
So like if you want to do like, and even some of the pinks and the purples are pretty like rough.
When it comes to sigil,
Yeah.
yeah.
But even when I look at like other brands, they still tend towards kind of that similar. They're going for like a rough. I won't say darker because they're not necessarily all dark, but they're definitely more of a like. I don't know, rougher like concept of colors. Like it tends to be your more like I said, those like drabby colors.
I wonder
I
if
want some
it's
like pastels.
yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about because like that it's something that we could get into maybe even in the future when it comes to like color theory and especially shades of color and how they say that
Mm.
women can see better shades of color. That's why you see a lot of artists who are really good with color are female. So I'm wondering like with these companies, do they have females on staff or?
Mm.
But yeah, I agree with like the pastel or a pastel line of colors.
Yeah. Like if I want to do like actually when I shared a picture in a Discord of my night, and somebody called it Grim Bright, and I was kind of like I kind of like
Yeah.
that term.
You say you don't like that term?
No, I do like
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah, okay, yeah.
I don't think it perfectly encapsulates what I'm trying to do, but I like the term.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, like I feel like I have to do a lot of work to keep as bright as I want them to be. Like I have to
Mhm.
do a lot of dry brushing. I have to do a lot of like going over things, because just like I also use a lot of washes, so like the washes darken everything, but then the paints themselves are pretty like dark to
Mhm.
begin with. I also wish there was more variation of like tone. Like I
What
want like
primer?
warm and cool.
What primer do you use? Like a black or a white?
I did not prime the night.
That's right. You don't prime, do you?
I don't. I do like a thin down base.
Mhm.
Okay, honestly, half of the base colors on that night are layer paints. That's how
Mhm.
ridiculous I am.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'll thin them down to create like your initial, and then build off that.
You water them down?
Yeah,
How does the paint not pool? And
there's
it's
a there's a very small window
yeah.
between watering it down where it doesn't pool, and there's a few times that it did pool and I had to go back over and do it.
Yeah.
But if you water it down ever so slightly, so
Mhm.
like if you go in with almost like a wet brush, like you know the little like, because I like the little citadel pots. So if you bring like a wet brush with like, you don't get any of the water out of it, you don't shake it, and then you can kind of mix it on the top so
Mhm.
that you can get the consistency you want, and then you use that as like a your basing.
There's a method to your madness.
You know what else I did for the
What's
first
that?
time?
What's that?
I washed my brushes.
First time?
First time.
You didn't wash them before?
I've never washed them before. No, they had hardened to the point that the bristles didn't move anymore.
How?
My basing brush
It's just
was
like
literally
okay.
a clump. It was like there was no movement to the bristles. It was just like, oh, I am painting.
You know what we're gonna do?
But
in the future, we're gonna do Confessions of a Hobbyist, and I want to know your dirty secrets.
I did wash them. I bought some brush soap at Michael's. I washed them.
Recently.
Yeah, like this week.
Wow.
Yeah. Some of my brushes are like my original ones I had from 15 years ago too.
Do they turn into like almost like a pencil, like because they're so hard? Or did they soften up when you would add water to them?
Like enough-ish. Yeah, there was some give to it.
Okay.
Yeah. They're not all perfect yet. Like my basing brush is still very like much. It's like I got it half cleaned out, so like the top of it has like movable bristles, but the bottom doesn't move yet. It's still a chunk.
I'm impressed.
You should be amazed that I can paint it all.
That gives me like hope, because I do have some brushes that are like that too. Like where
it took a lot. It was like 45 minutes of cleaning them, and like I just sat there with my finger. I soaked them as I was like, and then I just sat there like using the like basically like the friction on against my finger with the brush until it started like frothing. I used a lot of soap in them to like try and break down.
Yeah.
And it did eventually start, like the pigment started coming out like in the bubbles, so I knew it was working. It took a while, yeah. It did make a difference.
And then after you use them, did you rinse them off again?
Oh yeah, yeah. I like rinsed the hell out of them.
Mm-hmm.
The smaller ones weren't so bad. Actually, one of the ones that I thought that was dead, I actually got it to almost eat again.
It's actually pretty surprising how you can bring those brushes back to life. I did like a video and I got like flack for it, but I don't care. Like it worked for me. But I've had some brushes that I have left or just went to bed or just didn't take care of them, and then I put them in Simple Green, which is like the paint stripper liquid that if you put a model in. And so I had those, so like the brushes soaking in that, and then washed them the next day with the soap and stuff, and they came back to life now. Some people said, don't do this with sable brushes, whatever you do, oh my god. But
I don't even know what my brushes are made out of, so
I was like, it's my brushes, like I'm trying with them, like don't yell at me.
I mean, you've also told me you don't buy the like super expensive brushes.
No.
So like, what was it, like a $3 mistake if you completely ruined the brush?
Well, it was also with my my Citadel brushes that are more pricier, but
okay, so yeah,
they still work. Like whatever, they're my brushes. If I want to find out the hard way, I will. Like.
Actually, the one that I haven't gotten to recover yet, I need to wash it again, is my dry brush, which is one of the Citadel ones, which actually, honestly, I really like. It is a different type of brush. I don't know which one.
The small, flat one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like the really small one, or you like the bigger one?
Yeah. No, I only use small brushes. I'll be honest with you. I use like way too small brushes as my base. Like, I use very tiny brushes when it doesn't make any sense.
Is it because you feel like you have more control?
I feel weirder about using bigger brushes. Like, even during the night, I did it mostly with like very small brushes. Not super small, but like definitely my smaller brushes. Some of the basing
makeup brushes. I like that size.
Yeah, no, I literally use like the tiny ones. Like your, what is it, like a twos and fours?
Layer brushes?
Yeah.
Detail.
Yeah, that's what you use for large pieces. We do have some comments that I've been completely ignoring. Tools are tools, stop putting yourself down. I don't remember what I was putting myself down for at this point. I'm sorry. And Monument Hobby green is like, okay, why is there a heart thing here and I can't see?
It's awful, isn't it?
Right? Why is it there? Is like something pigmented orc green. It's awesome. Maybe extremely pigmented orc green. Yeah, see, but okay, but even like the orc green is like more. Like I said, I want like I want something that you would put on like an Easter egg.
Right. You want it more like of a paler color.
Yeah, but I also want like, as I'm thinking about it more, I want more cool tone colors.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I think of the Citadel line, and even some of the, like I said, like the Army Painter stuff, it's all warm.
Yeah.
Like there's very few cool tones, and like, and if you do, because I'm even thinking, Green Stuff World recently did like an ice base, and even they're like, it was almost like a fluorescent blue they were using as a cool tone blue. But then again, like, why do you have to have such a like bright blue to get cool toned? Because even like having done like Tau, like the Fang and Rust Blue are like how you do Tau Flesh, and they're almost like neutral to warm toned blues, which feels weird. Like you can do that. It's just like it's an odd. Just like Citadel colors are warm. I think that's the issue. As we're talking, I think that's the problem. Is I want more variety of tone. I want to be able to have like cooler yellows and red.
Do you mix your colors?
I have. I didn't have green for the longest. Like I had no green paint, so I would, if I wanted any kind of green, I was mixing
yellow and blue.
Yeah. Now I don't have any like actual just like standard blue paint, as that dried out on me. But yeah, I will do it. I try not to, just for repeatability. I have a lot of like infantry heavy armies.
Oscar says, I find indigo tough to get, and I crave that. Like really intense indigo.
Yes.
Yeah.
But indigo is typically like a cooler toned, like purplish blue. Like I'm even thinking of like Phoenician purple is fairly warm for what it is. And even like Emperor's Children and Fulgrim Pink, like those colors are still quite warm for pinks. Like it's hard to get, and I feel like that's a part that's missing. So yeah, no, 100%. I would love like a really crisp indigo that you could like. It would also just give you more room, because like that's the thing, is there's not a lot of room in like the green, like yellow to purple, like that side of the like color spectrum. I feel like is very underrepresented. You have a lot from like.
There's like
yeah, you have like a lot. Yeah, it's like greens is when it starts getting a little. There's a few more greens, but it's like yellow is very small, blue is a little bit bigger than yellow, purple is like there's like 5 purples, and 3 of them look very similar. Like there's not actually that much difference between them, and then you've got like 12 like oranges though.
I find reds are quite small as well.
There's more reds, I think, than yellows and blue.
Kind of. They're very all like. I find corn red and Mephiston red very similar, but there's and then evil sons. I can't remember the one, but like they're of the same range. Like there's not like a high range of red. They're very similar.
You want to hear something that broke my mind recently?
What's that?
Pink is the only shade of a color that has its own word.
What do you mean?
Pink is just light red. It's not its own color. Like pink isn't a real color.
Purple is. What do you mean?
No, because purple is blue and yellow. Pink is just light red. So like part of like the red, pink would be included in the red line.
Yeah. Ah.
So if you include pinks, there's actually a lot of reds. Yeah.
Boy, pink's
Yeah, for
everywhere.
some reason we've like there's no, yeah, like pink is on the rainbow because it's one of like it's amongst the red,
Yeah.
but pink isn't actually a color.
Hmm.
It's the only color that we named that isn't a color.
It's just a shade.
Yeah, it's a lighter red,
Hmm.
but like we don't consider like, I don't know, a light turquoise its own color. Like that you would name that particular shade, but you wouldn't say that that's a category of colors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we define pink as like this whole category, even though it's just light reds.
Okay, mine's kind of grown. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was like complete. I was just like, I have held that in my head unknowingly for my entire life of just like, oh, pink's its own color. It's not.
Yeah, because then you
But
go,
yeah,
there's dark pink and then there's light pink. No, it's just lighter red.
and not as light red, right? Right though. But part of it, I think, is also so humans couldn't actually see blue until like 2,000 years ago.
Mm.
So I think we actually see differentiations between like reds better than other colors.
Okay.
So if you look at like the visible spectrum from humans, like if you've ever read like the Odyssey or the Iliad, they described the ocean as wine red because they like, yeah, it's like the wine red seas.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a word for blue at that time because people didn't really see blue yet.
Mm.
Yeah, blue is like a more recent mutation. Um, so, anyways, but because of that, we probably see more yellow differentiations between yellows and reds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's even been some research that people who like the color purple are actually more likely to be able to see like ever so slightly into the ultraviolet spectrum. So it
Mm.
means that they can actually see more of the gradients of purple. Because some people kind of like tap out
But
halfway
then
into like the blue spectrum.
that comes to like, how do you know? Describe color.
No, it's true.
Did you know that there's a story by H.P. Lovecraft about a new color that comes down from space with our minds our minds can't comprehend, and it drives everyone insane.
That sounds very
Insane.
Lovecraft.
It drives everyone insane because you know what, there is a psychology with colors, and I
Hmm.
kind of learned this when I was working at Subway and doing entrepreneurship in high school. But there is a reason why these corporations pick these colors, and
Mm-hmm.
the the aspects that it gives to people, like yellow, especially in a restaurant, makes you want inviting. It invites you in and eat, but it makes you want to leave just as quickly. So that's why Subway used yellows, because they wanted you in, but they wanted you out just as quickly.
Yellow is also the most attention-grabbing color, so when you put it on a sign, it's more
Mm-hmm.
likely to be actually like red.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why most fast food logos are yellow.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
think that's in an Emperor's Children kind of thing. A color so intense it makes you die. Yeah.
that's
Which,
very Slanesh. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Well, because like color is frequency, and then sound is just frequency, and you can manipulate
Mm.
anything with frequency.
It's all just waves, man. It's all just waves. We're
We're
we're all
just a
we're all just
molecule.
vibrating.
Yeah.
Everything's just vibrating. That's one of my favorite descriptions about Blastmasters is that like they're so powerful, but also noise marines are like so attuned to sonic frequencies that
Mm-hmm.
like they actually just like cause all of the bonds between your molecules to like break. So people just sort of like turn into like dust
Mm-hmm.
effectively. Like they just like shake that you hit they find the resonant frequencies of people's bodies and they just like explode apart. And I think
Well,
that's hilarious.
it's when you think of it, Emperor's Children, they're just the ultimate scientists. They've broken down the human anatomy to knowing the answer to everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're just like
Oh, we want you to
I
break
get
into tiny
like
molecules. We want you to shit
I
yourself. Bam.
I could use that knowledge for positive and good things. Or I could make people explode.
Yeah. Yeah, because like with knowing how to do that to somebody, they also know probably the frequencies of like pleasure and joy and happiness.
It's like a blastmaster's also capable of cancer because it can like
Cure
cause
cancer, yeah.
cancerous tumors to like break apart inside your body, and they're just like, nah, don't want to do that. You explode instead.
I'm gonna say this right now. Blastmaster sounds like a name for a vibrator. I'm just gonna like, just gonna put that out there.
Who says it isn't also a
like it
vibrator?
vibrates sound like. Come on.
Absolutely. Oh, that's definitely a thing they can do. Hit like a note that like vibrates your body at a certain frequency that causes everyone to just, it's like a forced orgy. That's a very Emperor Sylvan thing to do.
Yeah.
Just like they strum the Blastmaster and everyone just comes.
Yeah. Why do you think everyone wants to go see a Slanesh concert?
Right? Nobody wants to go see like the Korn concert. That's just like a rave with no music where everyone dies.
They're just moaning and groaning.
They're just like, oh, everyone's just dead.
And Nurgle's just wet and sloppy.
Yeah.
Nurgle's like the mukbang that just went too far.
Zeech is like, have you ever seen those like concerts where everyone's wearing their own headphones?
Yeah.
That's Zeech. It's like no one's actually like it's in a silent room. They're all just sitting there with their own like music playing.
You interpret the music how you want to interpret it.
That's a Zeech concert.
I remember one games day I was at, there was an Emperor's Children army that had a Discman in the Land Raider and speakers in the Rhinos, so it could literally play music while it fought you.
That's such a good idea. That's such a good idea.
I've seen people take like little Bluetooth speakers now and do that.
Maybe if I ever get another Land Raider, I'll do that. Because there's a lot of room inside of it. Just have a little like tiny Bluetooth speaker in the front, like in the.
And then the Chaos.
I guess you could
was
just
on top of the Land Raider with Mike as the lead singer.
Actually, now that I'm realizing, I was like, oh, you'd have to set up a whole thing. No, it's not 2001 anymore. You don't. You could, like you were saying, you would just literally throw a Bluetooth speaker inside of it.
Yeah, they come this big now.
I caught up with your. Yeah, there we go. That'd be fun.
You can even like as the mic, you can make it a usable mic because they have those little tiny mics for phones that actually work. And then you could talk into your mic while you're playing at a tournament. You're like, I am tough 4. And
it's like the Land Raiders just like rah, 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 rah.
Like a megaphone.
You just have like a little thing on your eye. You're just like, shh. It's like the Land Raiders talking at them. I'm like, if you blow up the Land Raider, you can't hear me talk to you anymore.
Yeah, your choice, bud.
Yeah. That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
We just do silliness. Like, I would love to do a tournament where there's no points and that you just bring what you want, have like fun, bring fluffiness. There's like awards for like.
I think that's what that narrative tournament Play On like organized. Was more like.
Yeah. The one that they're doing again, actually. Yeah, they're doing it in Edmonton on Father's Day.
But they did it last year too. Okay. Yeah, I think that was more the vibe. It's like bring like cool fun armies and like random stuff, like kind of like your Help and Hinder game, like at HalCon, where like except like the Play On guys are just like, and Orbital Strike. Let's see what happens. Bam, 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 bam. Like,
well, especially like that would be great. An event like that where it was live stream and then you could have people in the audience or like the chat and it being for charity. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I think games that aren't competitive should have a GM like D&D where they the element of chaos. Fun fact, Warhammer used to have game masters.
What?
In first edition, there was a game master.
For each table?
Yeah.
So the 3 people would play?
Yeah.
Oh.
The rules were like so. We'll say abridged that you would need someone to like whenever the rules didn't like you ran out of rules before the interaction actually made sense. That's what the game master was for. So like if you tried to do something and it's like, oh, there's not a rule for this, then the game master would like decide what actually happens.
This game just Warhammer just went competitive.
Well, it's okay. Having played older editions, Warhammer now is a lot simpler. Like there's a lot of room for complexity, but like the actual like minute by minute mechanics of operating your army are so much simpler now. Like not having to argue over weapon arcs and where templates are and is that a direct hit, because have you ever seen a blast template?
Yes.
The center circle is a direct hit. So you're trying to judge that, hey, this thing that moved 3 inches to the left, well, is it my left or your left? And is it still over your vehicle? Because it doesn't line up perfectly. So, like, they got rid of all of those things that made the game really clunky, we'll say. It added a lot more flavor, it was a lot more fun. Like, yeah, when the battle cannon of a Lehman Russ shoots into a squad of like space marines and direct hit and it just like hits all of them and like wipes a bunch of them out, super thematic. When you get the perfect like flamer positioning and 70 hits on a flamer because each of them hit like 9 people, super satisfying. But every other time, it was a lot of like, I think it's 3. Well, I think it's 4. I think it's 3. Here, let me hold that. Oh, you're not putting it over the right part of the gun. Because that also used to matter. It wasn't any part of the model. It was actually where the gun was.
Yeah. I remember that from my game with Jared. Trying out 7th with the templates, and I know internally I had confusion of like, but how do you know where like the direction of the scatter is it going that way? Like in my perspective, it's kind of like tilted this way, and then and then putting the template over, and I can imagine that confusion.
I feel like that would naturally make the game more fun with the GM narrating those cinematic. 100%. I think absolutely. If you're gonna do like a proper cinematic narrative game, I think you need a third party that can like add the flavor that the game in its current state doesn't really add.
Right, and that kind of just keeps people more, I don't want to say in line, but like reminded that they are in this narrative game, and it's not about hitting the 2s and 2s. Like it doesn't matter.
What? You don't just want to always win and always kill everything all the time?
I don't care about doing math that badly. It's not
That's very fair.
It's not my desire to math so I can always have 2s and 2s. I like to accept that I roll my 4s. That's makes it very easy for me.
What did you say? You want to roll your 5-ups and 5-ups? 5s and 5s.
And I just let me put that thought into the placement of the models and like combating with my opponent rather than I need to buff this unit so I use this aura and this spell. Well, used to this spell, this like just so I can get the 2s and 2s.
I'm gonna say something controversial, and I think part of this is like I don't think anything other than like epic heroes should be able to hit on 2s.
I agree, and you can kind of tell it's there is elements of 10th being like that rather than 9th, where 9th was like you could break almost anything, and it just kind of did the
Yeah.
twos and twos. Whereas now it is feeling like, okay,
There's fewer rerolls now.
yeah.
I would like to see even fewer rerolls, if I'm being honest. Because, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
a 3-up no longer means anything. Like, a 3-up used to be
saves? Like, okay, I've
cover saves are just like everything has cover now. I don't know. It's just kind
Yeah.
of like everything is -1 AP.
And that's just true, because if you look at, I can only speak for the Chaos Demons, but that the fortifications give benefit of cover. Anything on the table pretty much gives benefit of cover. It's just, and then you have people who have like armor saves of 3s and 2s, and then they increase us to 1, and they're like, oh, I have 2-ups anyways.
Okay, you do play the one army that doesn't have armor saves.
I know.
That is a bit
But I
of a,
also
like,
play
demon
against the
thing.
armies that do.
That's fair.
And it's I don't know.
You know where you don't get a cover save?
I'm a demon.
In combat. Just fight everything.
You want that to be a rule?
No, that's just how I don't know. You don't get a cover save in combat, so just charge everything.
That's true.
Just ABC, Kaylee, always be charging.
If your guys get there. I try to charge, they just sometimes don't get there.
Okay, ABF, always be fast.
Yeah.
You know why I'm building the Rampager? Because the Rampager moves 12 inches. It can advance and charge once per battle. So it is like a speed demon that hits like a freight train. So that you don't have to worry about cover. You just like throw it at something, and whatever you throw it at dies. You know what its big sweep attack is?
Do I want to know?
18 attacks at strength 9, -3, 2 damage apiece. That's obnoxious. And it hits on 2-ups.
I was just about to say, so you found your 2s and 2s.
Yeah. But see, that's also, it's like a 400-point giant monster knight thing. In my mind, that's like in the epic hero. The same like greater demons would be in that too. Like I have no problem with like a great unclean one, or a bloodthirster hitting on 2s. That makes sense. They're giant, like monsters. That's okay. But like, you know what? I've been thinking a lot about like what Dr. Rhino said about like custodians just shouldn't be in the game. The more I think about it, the more I kind of agree. Not necessarily because like I have a deep resentment for custodians, but just like they don't fit. Because like a guardsman shouldn't be able to kill a custodian. So like, how do you create a game where that can happen?
Yeah, and then have balance.
Exactly. Like, the lore of custodians is like it would take thousands of guardsmen to kill a custodian.
So we don't
a
see
single
thousands
one
on the table.
Exactly. Scale doesn't work with custodians.
Do you think there should be
so,
fewer models then?
Either that, or they should they should work more Blade Force, like we're playing Astra Militarum or Sisters of Battle, and you can take 500 points of custodians. Like, they're a Horus Heresy army, and in the Horus Heresy that makes sense. You have the Siege of Terra. It makes sense that the custodians are fighting. Like, leave it to Horus Heresy for them to be a full faction, and make them like make them the chaos demons of the Imperium.
Laura. They'd lose their best client if they did that.
Who?
Henry Cavill.
Do you think he buys that many miniatures? Bro probably paints 3 models a year at best.
I'm not talking about financially. I'm talking about like, he doesn't need to paint. He doesn't even need to buy the models. He needs just to
They've already got
post it
them
on Instagram with his little itty bitty fingers and his little itty bitty paintbrush. Ding. Ding, 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 ding.
I agree too. Custodians are so hard to make feel right. Exactly. It would feel better if they were only able to be brought as like the custodian hero who is leading the Imperial army. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, make them like the chaos demons of Imperials. Like 500 points. You can And like then you can make them tough. You can make them tough 9 and like
But
give
demons
them
you can have a
super
full
weapons.
army with.
Demons have a more like of a wide range of units. Like you
Right.
either have to make it so that the actual custodians are stupid good and you get like 4 of them and they have a bunch of chaff.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're like they're mostly like the Sisters of Silence and like Auxilia, like that type of stuff where it's like you're basically, but then again that's just guard with a few custodians in it, so that's like you get the same place just doing it as guard.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they don't work.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 be able to kill an entire Space Marine army.
3?
Like that's like yeah, like a custodian is supposed to be able to fight like 30 to 100 Space Marines before going down.
So they're diminishing the image of custodians by having a codex in an army.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Is
saying.
there even an army if 3 of them can finish off all these Space Marines?
This is what like when I was younger, there was people make like the movie Marines like data sheets, and it was called movie Marine. It was basically like what a lore realistic Space Marine would be like,
Mm-hmm.
and a 2,000 point army was 5 Space Marines.
Hmm.
Like that's what custodians should be like.
Mm-hmm.
Like it should be like, okay, you want to bring Trajan Valoris, he's 450 points and he's like tough 9. He has a 2-up permanent armor of contempt. He's got a 3-up invuln. He's almost impossible to kill, but he's 1 model and he doesn't get lone operative, so he can get shot off the table. So it's like a huge risk to take him. Well, you just make him like super tough. So it's like really hard to kill him. But and like you make him an absolute blender so that he like rips apart whatever he goes into.
Mm-hmm.
So you make him a singular threat, but yeah, he's like 500 points.
But it's on the same base.
Yeah. Yeah, like you don't turn him into a giant monster. He's just like he's still Trajan Valoris. He's actually Trajan Valoris.
James Workshop gonna make his money.
It's a Horus Heresy army. It's still in the game. It's just in a different game.
Ulfgar says, I played that one time, a single movie Marine took out 1k of Imperial Guard.
Yeah.
Punches over tanks in his bare hands kind of stuff.
There's moments like in the books where like a Space Marine just like rips the hatch off of a Lehman Russ, throws a grenade in, and blows up the tank.
A single one? A single Space Marine?
Yeah, it just like you gotta think of like a heavy bolter fires like basically rockets at people, and they can one-handed.
Yeah.
So like ripping the hatch off a tank should not be like outside of their wheelhouse. Like even a chainsword can cut through metal.
So you think the game should have smaller model counts?
I mean, it used to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a ton more bodies on the table than there used to be.
Because of selling models.
Well, and I don't know necessarily like which one is the cart and which one is the horse, because also people have huge collections. They want to use more of it.
That's true.
So people want to use like Squad of Noise Marine is 85 points right now. That's nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then like
5 or 6. It's just 5, yeah.
Just 5. But if you have Lucius as your warlord, you can have 6 squads of 10. So you can have 60
for like 270 or something.
So for 1,000 points, you can have 60 Noise Marines on the field. It's silly, but that's just a lot of bodies. Like you're just clogging the board. Like that's guard. I ran a guard list that was only 85 bodies. Now it had 5 tanks in it, but still. But I mean, with 1,000 points, I could also run 5 tanks. So I could run a CSM list with 5 tanks, 60 Noise Marines in it, and like Lucius attached to one of them, and like still have room for a Rhino or 2, and then just like bomb around and just like be like, you can't kill all of us.
So does that mean that Space Marines are undercosted, or everybody else is overpriced in points?
I think a lot of things are undercosted now. Like, especially in 10th, where they got rid of war gear. A lot of units went down in base pricing, but then you also don't have to pay for war gear anymore. Like, a squad of Noise Marines in 9th was like 95 points, but you needed to put like 40 or 50 points of war gear on them to make them usable. So they're now cheaper than they were, and you don't have to pay for war gear. And like, you know, when I remember a squad of Fire Warriors in 5th was 100 points, and you still had to put like probably 10 points of war gear on them, and that was for 12. Now a squad of Fire Warriors is like 70 points, 80 points. So like and like that, but that's a 20% reduction. If there's a 20% reduction in points across the board, you have 20% more stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, we have more epic heroes than we used to have, like Galaman and the Lion, and like Gazgul and Abaddon are actually like big characters now. So you do have some like big point sinks. But if you want to just and like that RTT I went to, I ran like basically like a Horde Chaos Space Marine list. I had 85 models on the table.
Chump change.
Right? Because it's just I was like I had it was 20 just regular Space Marines. I brought Possessed. I brought Havocs. I brought a bunch of bikes. I had just a pile of just like infantry, obliterators.
Do you like
no, I kind of do, but it's like it's a little much. Like if we're talking about like thematic, it's too much.
Yeah.
Like a Chaos Space Marine should be terrifying.
Yeah.
And like they're not anymore. Like a Legionary should still be like, you know, a Legionary should be able to kill like 4 guardsmen easily. And they can't really anymore, down to so much. But also, like, yeah, they don't have like the oomph because they've added so much other stuff as well. So yeah, like, and part of I think the struggle is that like, you know, you can't make a Space Marine Terminator tough 6 because that's what a Custodian is. But you can't make a Custodian tough 7 because then all the anti-infantry stuff stops working on them at all. Because like if you move them up to tough 7, then like all of the strength 6 guns that are meant for like anti-elite are now wounding them on 5s, so you can't move anyone up any further. So it's a part of it is like Custodians don't fit. But then if you bring them up to if you bring those guns up to strength 7, then you have to move all the vehicles up because then a Land Raider is now getting wounded on a 5 instead of a 6 again. So then you can just go back to the 9th edition plasma spam against vehicles. So like it's all a balancing act, and like Custodians fuck around with the like ability to actually like make the tough things tough and make the weak things weak.
Should we all have a vote on if Custodians stay or go?
I mean, they're not going to go anywhere, but Knights have the same problem.
Yeah.
Knights also skew everything towards anti-vehicle, and then like, you know, your las guns don't do anything, and that's why like Guard have the if you stand still you get lethal hits, so they can kill Knights. That's why like, you know, a horde of Guardsmen can kill more than a bunch of Space Marines with bolters because they get lethal hits if they don't move, but the Space Marines don't. So there's a lot of like compromises that go into like allowing Knights and Custodians to fit. And Demons I don't think are as big of a problem because Demons don't have armor saves and they died in mass. So like, you know, the whole like, because Guards like Lasguns don't have any AP, so Custodians they just ping off of. But you can take down a Great Unclean one with enough Guardsmen because you'll eventually roll enough 6s. and you still are only rolling 4-ups.
Yep.
So like eventually that math works out, but when you're trying to roll 6s against 2-ups, and yeah, it just gets even harder. So we've been doing this for a while though. I did not expect this to go an hour and a half.
Oh, there was like a 20-minute start scene, so it's been about an hour.
Okay. Do we want to get started on the podcast? I feel fired up now though. I've missed doing these.
The lives.
Yeah, they're fun. I feel like we're not as like constrained to one topic, so we just kind of bomb. I don't know. This turned into a whole big rant about custodians.
We can go on tangents, and who cares?
Right? There's no consequences. But yeah, thank you so much for those of you that have joined us. And actually, honestly, you know what? Some people might also watch this after the fact, but I don't know. There's been so many new people listening to the podcast lately. Just like, I just want to say like how humbled I am by that, because every time I look is like, damn, I can't believe it. Yeah. So thank you to all of you.
We should definitely do this more often going into next year.
That'll be. Is that one of our resolutions?
It should be.
There we go. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ulfgar, for Ulfgar the Awful, Discord champ.
He's not awful though, like.
I know. It's a misnomer. Ulfgar the Wonderful. Yeah. Ulfgar the Great. Ulfgar the Truly Amazing.
Ulfgar the True.
Ooh, getting all chivalric there. All right.
You ready for
Shut her down, Captain?
Show?
I am.
Okay. Thanks for hanging out with us. Like we said, we want to do this more often. Don't know. We can't make promises, like, because it's the whole Christmas season, so it's like.
Yeah, it probably won't be in the next few weeks that it gets more often.
Next year, we're gonna sit down. We're gonna talk about next year and how Chaos Divided looks like, and if you like these lives, which I know Ulfgar does, so we have at least one. If we do this for Ulfgar,
Demittens shows up for a lot of them too. No, and you know what? I think we're gonna try and figure out the Blood God book club as well. So I think that's gonna be coming in the new year.
About that.
So we're yeah, I don't know. I feel like I didn't expect us to get to this point by the end of this year. So I feel like next year we gotta up our game a little bit. We gotta, as Tack told us, need to start actually planning things out and building up some strategies.
Did he say that?
So he said it to me. He's like, do you have any plans? Do you have any goals? And I was like, not so much. He's like, you should have some goals.
It's called having fun. And you know what?
Well, when
you
that's what I told
have
him.
Fun, then people. Okay, because it's like right now, all I'm doing is just having fun, and I love it. Like, there's no stress off my back. I don't have to like. It's something that I look forward to every week, and now people say, "Oh, good job on your hard work is paying off," and I just go, because it's not hard work. It's just fun.
No, and that's what I told him. I said I think that the first 6 months are if we were to have a goal, it was to make sure we liked doing it and to make this into something that we could continue to do.
I'm pretty sure you could name one. I could name a couple. People in chat or who are watching again could probably name how many people start something. I've even am a culprit of this. You start something and then it just kind of dies off. But now that we know that this is something that we're foundationally like attuned to, then we can get better and get great. But I think when people come out of the gates like this and this and this, they just put so much pressure. And under that pressure is when you start to crack.
Yeah, they got a plan for their 50th episode, but they haven't made it through the first one yet.
Yeah. Well, we're that's just around the corner from us. It doesn't even feel like 50.
I know. Well, remember we were like, oh, maybe we'll take some breaks, and we haven't wanted to yet.
No, like this, we were talking about this 2-3 months ago, or even back in August. Just like, should we take like a Christmas break or split it up? And we're here. It's like not even on like the topics of to talk
No, we
about.
didn't even like. Yeah, we. I just assumed we would keep going.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the more. Yeah, I think that's the part that's enjoyable for us, is that it is enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Bye bye, everyone.